What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to the vlog. So we're a little bit early this week. We are going hunting, but not until tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, and I had a little bit of a mission. I had to drive up to Kelowna, and I'm gonna share exactly why I had to do that in 1 second. It's about an 8-hour round trip drive, and the reason I drove to Kelowna was to get this. So, if you've been listening to the podcast or following the channel for a while, you will know that I've wanted a quad for quite some time. Specifically after last year's elk hunt, when me and my family got our asses kicked by dudes on quads all over the piece. Now, my original game plan was to buy a brand new quad. And then there's this family trip to Europe coming up, and the budget just didn't present it. So I'd kind of come to peace with the fact that hopefully you guys can hear this over the roar of all the vehicles cruising by. But actually, hang on a sec. All right, hopefully that's a little bit quieter. So, after getting our asses kicked up north in the piece, I really wanted a quad. I kind of had my heart set on a brand new one. I just feel better about buying brand new stuff. But then my wife got invited to this wedding in Europe. It was really important to her. So any kind of disposable funds for the year that could have been used for a quad was kind of sucked up by this vacation. And I'd kind of just come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to be able to get a quad. And then I went out last week, and it took me about 4 hours to hike from the truck up to that ridge where I set up all those cams. And I was on a quad trail, a perfectly acceptable quad trail the entire time. And it was just killing me. Like, I don't mind walking, but you can't be competitive with guys on quads when you're in that type of terrain. And also, I'm under the gun here to try and fit in these 1 to 2 day trips, and spending 4 hours hiking or 20 minutes quadding is the difference between a full day of hunting and scouting or like 5 or 6 hours of hunting and scouting. So I don't know why it never occurred to me before, but I thought to myself, I bet you if I could find a quad for under $5,000, the wife would be cool with it. Like, she's pretty reasonable. We got that much extra money kicking around. That's not too insane. So I got home, I pitched the idea. She said, that's totally cool. Have a look, see what you can find. So I had a look around. I was able to find a 2009 Yamaha Kodiak 450 with 2,100 kilometers on it, and I was able to get it for $4,800, and it is mint. The only drawback was I had to drive to Kelowna to get it. Now, here's the other piece I want to share with you guys, and kind of the reason I stopped to kind of make this little piece of content on the way home. I think there's lots of city folk that follow me that will run into the same issue I had. I wanted a quad, but I didn't have anywhere to store it. We live right in Vancouver. I can't keep a trailer in my driveway for a variety of reasons. Technically, I have room for a quad in the garage, but I have a canopy on my truck, so I needed to put it in a trailer. And there's all these like different things at play. And I was trying to figure out, if I get the quad, what am I going to do with it? So here's the solution I've come up with so far. I have a friend who has a farm out in the valley. They're going to let me store it there. So I bought a trailer so I can just dump the trailer off, leave it on the tongue jack, back up, pick it up, drop it off whenever I need to. And it's always on my way to and from the hunting grounds. And even if you didn't have a friend, I looked around and there are fairly reasonably priced storage solutions for a shorter trailer. So I was able to find this trailer. It's a pretty beefy 5x8 trailer. It's got 13-inch rims. The leaf springs were already on top of the rear axle. There's a lot of really great stuff about it. And it was $1,800. So a little bit more than I wanted to spend, but trailers right now, especially post-COVID, are incredibly pricey. So Anyways, I'm not going to go on and on about this, but I think there are creative ways to get the quad solution solved if you live in the city. There are some reasonably priced quads coming on the market right now. There were 2 or 3 others that were all, in that $5,000 neighborhood that were, looked like really good quads. And if you live in the Lower Mainland or if you live in a major city, make sure you expand your search to include the smaller communities that are 3 to 4 hours outside of the major city that you're in. Because there's just not a lot of people in the city with good deals on quads. But as soon as you start going to those more rural communities, not that Kelowna is rural, but there's way more people with power sports and toys in a place like Kelowna than in a place like Vancouver. So I would urge you guys, if there's been something holding you back, be a little bit more creative with your problem solving and see if you can get it done. I'm beyond pumped. This is going to open up all kinds of terrain. We're going to go hunting tomorrow. I already think I found an area where I'm going to be able to use it. So I'm excited to cover more ground, spend more time hunting, and just, have a new toy to play with, to be perfectly honest with you. So I got about 3.5 hours to get home. Should be home by 6:30 tonight. Still be home in plenty of time to make the kid and the wife dinner. So the wife's happy, I'm happy. And that's all I got for today. So I will fire back up the camera tomorrow when we head out scouting and hunting. And hopefully we can smoke a bear, or at the very least find some good spots to put some more mule deer cams. All right, stay tuned. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at her, and we just proved exactly why we're doing the scouting this year that we haven't done in previous years. So I was on my way to an area, and 200 meters off the main line, there was a big old nasty gate, and there was no way to get over or around it. So this is the kind of thing that in the middle of the season could kill an entire day. And there's really no way to look this stuff up. Like, these are all like logging roads, and the regulations surrounding gates are also very interesting in British Columbia. Like, technically it's illegal to restrict access to Crown land, but there's all these like private organizations that still put up gates, and there's really no one policing that. So it's like, there's really not a lot you can do about it. If you show up and there's a gate, it's just the way it is. So I have 2 more areas. It's gonna kind of kill some time. I'm gonna lose an hour or so, but I'm gonna bomb back around. Just about to come out on the main line here. I'm gonna bomb back around, kind of do this big loop. I think the other road that I want to go in had some pretty serious flood damage from a couple years ago. That's what I've been told. But this could actually turn out to be a good thing, because it might mean no pickup access, quad only access, and that would be another filter that would reduce pressure, and maybe nobody's gone in there for a while. So I got about a 45-minute drive. I'm going to go back through some cell service, so I'll download some new maps, and we'll hit up this second area. Fingers crossed. I just had a quick thought I wanted to jump on and share. So plans A through D have been screwed by a variety of circumstances outside of my control. And I was kind of experiencing this narrative, like telling myself that I was pissed off about all this stuff. And then I just caught myself driving down this logging road with like the biggest smile on my face. And I was like, I love this shit. I mean, okay, so it's not working out exactly as I planned, but like, what is actually happening? I'm in my truck by myself, listening to tunes, cruising around the woods, trying to figure out where to go hunting this fall. Like, there is literally not one other activity on earth that I would rather be doing right now than this. And I just wanted to share that, because I think sometimes, we get pissed off because we think we're supposed to be pissed off. And if you actually take a minute and think about it, it's like, there's nothing to even be pissed off about. Like, this is part of the process. And I like that idea. Like, you gotta fall in love with the process, because if you're only in love with the outcome, you'll never stick with it long enough to be successful. Anyways, aside from my rambling, I do think I've finally turned up a bit of a game plan. And the takeaway for me is like, I have done endless kind of e-scouting, and I literally have waypoints all over my phone of different things to go and check out. And I think that's the big takeaway here, is be over prepared. Like, expect for the majority of your plans to, get crushed for some reason or another, so that, and always have a lot of backups. Anyways, I got about another 15 minutes down this logging road, and then if it turns out to be what I think it's going to turn out to be, I'm going to dump the quad and head up into the hills. So I'll do a bit more of an update once I can confirm that we can actually get to this next area. I finally found a place to come scout/hunt. Made it all the way up to the top. That bowl I just showed is the exact type of terrain I'm looking for, because I think there's definitely potential of some alpine black bears in bowls like that. And I think it also makes good terrain for mule deer. It would also be really nice for archery hunting mule deer, which is kind of my ultimate plan. So it's not just finding where they are, but it's finding where they are in huntable terrain. So I'm just gonna walk around as long as I can up here. I don't mind. I can basically make it down in the dark with the headlights of the quad and just get home at like midnight tonight, so that's fine. I got maybe four and a half hours to hike around and see if I can find anything worth setting up a cam on, and see if I can't turn up a bear. So see what we can do. All right, I've been hiking around for a couple hours. I haven't seen much sign. I think it's the same issue for bears as where I was last week. I'm just too high, but I do think it's decent mule deer country. So one area can't be good for everything. I'm just gonna sit here and glass for a little bit and then slowly start making my way back to the quad. Haven't set any cams yet. Haven't really seen anything that warrants it, but I'll keep looking around, see if I can find something. Well, that got pretty chilly pretty fast. It's about 7:30 right now. Decided not to hang any cams. I saw a couple piles of scat. I saw a couple tracks. I saw a couple little trails, but like all really minor stuff. I didn't see the density of sign to make it worth coming back up here. Also, the quad trail up here was pretty sketchy. I mean, I would have done it again if it was like really good hunting up here, but I don't know, just not feeling pulled. So still pretty successful day. Crossing an area off the map is kind of a success all on its own. I'm hoping I can get to the bottom in about an hour and then drive home, get home for maybe 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock tonight. I'll do another update when I get down to the truck before I head home. All right, let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we made it back to the truck. I forgot how physically draining really intense quad riding is. It was about 3.5 miles up and 3.5 miles back. And at least half of it was pretty severe, kind of bouldery pitches. I tried to take a little bit of footage. I don't know how it's going to turn out. If you've seen it by now, it means it turned out okay. And if you haven't seen it, it means it looked like garbage. So no need for a pack dump today. The only different piece of gear that I brought this time, as opposed to last week, was I used a Lululemon Dry Sense base layer instead of the Cool Engineered hoodie. And it actually surprised me quite a bit how much I liked it. I'd only worn it on a couple of hikes in some really hot weather, like 30 degrees Celsius. And it felt kind of clingy and heavy to me. It was a little bit cooler today. I don't know, maybe like between 12 and 15 degrees Celsius, maybe as high as 16 or 17. I don't know, but there was a lot of wind, so it felt chilly. And I was shocked at the wind protection of that base layer. Super impressed by that. So I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on these two pieces right now. I'll keep running them back to back and hopefully get them through a variety of circumstances and come to some kind of conclusion here in the next few weeks. Other than that, I just didn't bring a whole lot of stuff that I brought last week because I knew I wasn't going to be sleeping. So no tent, no sleeping pad, no sleeping bag or quilt, etc. Other than that, all the gear was the same. Now, everybody was really great about leaving comments on the last vlog about stuff they either had questions for or they wanted me to cover more. So I wanted to address that stuff to show my appreciation and let you know, like, yeah, 100%. If you drop a comment below and you want to know something, I'll do my best to answer it. So one comment, there's actually multiple comments about my pre-game regiment, essentially like, how do I get ready to go out on these? So I'll do a better job next time and I'll film kind of my little prep in the morning. E-scouting, I think this is going to require a whole video. And I'm having the founder of Top Notch Navigator on the podcast in a couple weeks. And I think we can kind of really cover that podcast. I'm going to be honest. I am not an animal behavior expert. So my e-scouting is more like, where's some country that I can get to that other people likely won't get to? Hopefully there's some animals there. That's literally the extent of it. So I will get somebody on who can add more expertise than that. Now, one of the questions last week was about camera placement, not micro camera placement, like not where to take the shot, but like in that whole area, how are you spreading out your cameras? Are you putting one camera in an area? You could put a bunch of cameras in an area. I would say those 3 cameras I put out last week are probably spread out about 1.5 kilometers. There's probably one every 0.5 kilometer, if that makes sense, or 0.75 kilometers. My goal is to cam an area because you might only get a buck on one of the cams instead of all 3 of the cams. Like, you're trying to capture what kind of animals are in that area. There could be, because I'm in the exploratory phase, I'm kind of trying to like carpet bomb areas with cams because there's a lot of luck still involved at this point. I'm doing my best. I think if you'd been in an area longer and you were targeting specific bucks and you knew where their bedding areas were and stuff like that, then I think you could get away with single cameras for single animals. But I'm trying to get an idea about a whole area, so it requires multiple cams spread out. Cell cameras versus SD cards. I'm not a big fan of cell cameras, and they're illegal in British Columbia during hunting season, and I don't want to have to go up and pull all my cameras out before hunting season. And I don't know, it just doesn't really seem like my thing. So I just use SD cards. Possibles pouch. I will do a video on what's in my Possibles pouch. I use a large Zipperoo pouch from Marsupial Gear. Not the meshed one, like the stretchy one. I like it a lot. And I got another question about my kill kit. So maybe I'll combine those two videos because it was like 5 or 6 minutes each. You know what I mean? All right, that's all we got for this week. So yet again, wrong area for bears, right area for mule deer. I did bump a doe, but there wasn't the density of sign to necessitate putting up cams and then going all the way back up that sketchy quad trail to check them come the season. So I'll basically spend the next few days. Man, I'm more tired than I thought because I've caught myself slurring words like 4 times during this little epilogue thing that I'm doing here. I will do some more e-scouting and maybe I'll record some of it, do a little bit of a video on that. I'll find some more spots and rinse and repeat, man. We'll come back out next week. We'll do the exact same thing. It was so cool to have the quad. I'm so glad I bought that thing. So as always, if you can like, comment, share, subscribe, I greatly appreciate the help boosting things in the algorithm. And if there's anything else you want to know, anything you want covered, anything that you thought was boring as shit, let me know. Give me feedback, and we'll all get better together. So until next time, thanks for tuning in.